So then, group home. What was
Oh man, it was worse.
really?
Yeah, it was kind of
It's a group home in Staten Island.
no.
It
They took me to Brooklyn. I went to a group home in Brooklyn. Wait, was it Brooklyn?
it,
Yeah.
it was you and your brother.
No, it was in Far Rockaway. It was my first group home, just me, because I was the only one that had the plan to misbehave until she got rid of me.
Oh,
My brother he's more relaxed, more subtle, and less extreme, and probably more mature too, But yeah, I just couldn't take it. Um, so he stayed with her, and I ended up going to this group home in Far Rockaway, and it was this huge building, and it were like 12 to 15 boys in each apartment. And you just even being around family who's abusive was like almost better than being in a group home with 100 other really angry kids your age and older, because then there were and only people watching were staff members who were being paid hourly to be
yeah,
there. They didn't
right.
give a shit, really, most of them. I mean, some of them didn't genuinely care. But yeah, just I mean, that's when I had to start defending myself. I couldn't. I didn't know how to fight, so I got beat up all the time. Also, I was a loudmouth, and I thought I was funny, so I would always, snap jokes on people. And yeah, that was when I got introduced to ass whippings,
Wow.
and being around people who were in gangs, being around kids who had been in jail, who had, probably murdered other people or whatever. Um, and that was a nightmare. Yeah, that was a nightmare.
What did you think at that point your life would become?
I wasn't thinking about my life at all. In those days in the group home, I thought about my brother. I get emotional just think about it, yo. I thought about my brother and I thought about my parents, my brothers and sisters, but mainly my two brothers, my older brother and my younger brother. I thought about them the most, and my parents, and I missed them so much. I thought about that, and I thought about just like making it past the day, getting past the day, and not getting beat up. But I was also one of those kids. I wasn't afraid of getting beat up. A lot of times, if you're in a room full of people who are like really angry, you don't need to do anything for someone to fight you or to beat you up. You don't need to do anything. So even the times where I was well behaved, people came up to me and slapped me in the back of my head. And I knew I couldn't fight, but I wasn't gonna let someone just slap me in the back of my head. So, I tried to fight. I tried to defend myself, you know.
And how long were you in the group home for?
I was in that group home for a year and every other one for a year. So from 13 to 18, I was in 5 group homes and each one for about a year.
And could you? I mean, what? Like, how does do they school you? Like, what is? How does that work?
So some of this one, the first group home, they had a school right across the street, and it was only the kids from the group
Okay.
home, like a private school. Well, private school sounds like way too nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, group home. Let's say group home school. But in some of the other group homes that I was in later, you were like I was in a house that was in a regular community, and I went to a normal public school. You know,
Okay. Wow. And so then at 18, then you're on your own basically,
there was some kids who were 21 in the group home. You could stay till you're 21.
and you decided.
I was 18, almost 18 when I was in a lockdown group home called Leak and Watts, upstate. Not upstate, but in uh I can't remember. But yeah, I was there because it was a group home in Queens, and this staff member. I got to a point where I knew how to fight. Once you get beat up enough, you start to realize, oh, that's why I'm getting beat up.
Yeah.
Because I just look at the fist coming towards me. And then you start to like move away from the fist. And like, oh shit, I moved away from the fist. That was crazy. You're like, what can I do after I move away? You know? So I learned how to fight. And I got to a point where my anger that I always had, now I had a sort of a vehicle to use it and express it physically,
Mm.
which was terrible for me. So I got to a point where this staff member, he threatened me. He told me if he saw me in the street, he would slit my throat.
Is a staff
Yeah,
member
yeah,
who's supposed to? But
yeah.
what did you provoke to
I
him?
was probably making jokes. I would prank people.
And he said that to you.
I was just a wild, silly, hyperactive kid,
Okay.
and he couldn't stand me. I made his job hard, basically, you know. And yeah, and he said that to me. He was like, "If I see you in the street, I'm gonna, slice your throat." And as soon as he said that, I attacked him. Like those words to me were like
Right.
not cool to say to me. So I attacked him, and because of that, I got sent to this lockdown facility upstate. When I got there, it was the big difference was whenever you get into a fight in a group home, you you fight until the staff members break it up. And you kind of hope they break it up. You don't want to go till the death as a
Right.
like as a teenager.
Right.
You want to do that. So but this group home, they did not do that. You know, this and I'm sure the people on top didn't know that they were doing this, but the staff members, if you were getting into a fight, there were these big metal these big magnet doors, like 5 inches thick, and it was in the living room and in the like the front door. And you couldn't get out unless somebody hit the button, you know, and that's how you got in and out of the place. And so if you were getting into a fight, they put you in the living room, close that door, and there was a big window where you could see what was going on in the living room so they could watch what the kids are doing. And everyone would go to that window and just watch the two people fight. And they wouldn't open the door until, there was one person left standing,
No.
Yeah.
This is like animal
It
treatment.
was. But it was lucky for me, that was the thing. And actually, that was the thing that snapped me out of this world that I was in, that I had been put in, that I thought there was no other way out. You know what I mean? Um, it was this kid who was mentally challenged, and he would go up to people randomly and just start a fight with them. And he did. Today was my day, and so he came up to me and he was saying something that wasn't. You couldn't tell what he was saying, and I was like, oh, "Okay, all right." He wants to fight me, so they put us in this room, locked the door,
Wait,
and
so it's like the guard. It's almost like a cockfight. You feel like the guards, the guard, or the people working
the
there
staff member.
they're like, okay, these two are
Yeah.
fighting. Let me throw you guys into
Yeah,
this.
instead of breaking it up, because breaking up a fight, and some of the kids are 21, so
Right.
breaking up a fight is not an easy thing to do.
Right.
You can get injured, you can get punched, you can get hit. The kid might attack you. So staff members are like, This is just my job. I don't want to
Wow.
just go. Y'all want to fight? Go ahead.
So then
Lock
what
the
happened
door.
with this kid?
And so I'm in this room with him locked in, and I'm like, what the hell is? And he's like, he's crazy. So I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what's gonna happen right now. Who's gonna win? Like, and I was just thinking, like, what am I doing? What's happening with my life? So we start fighting, and luckily I got the best of him because I was really good at wrestling, and because I was so small for so long and I got beat up so much, I knew how to get the best of a bigger person because I was good at headlocks. I put him in a headlock. I just kept slamming him on the floor, I put him in a headlock and put him to sleep. And I let go of him. I let go of him.
Yeah.
He exhaled. I knew he was okay. And they opened the door, and I walked out. And I went up to my room. I closed the door. I was still out of breath. And there was a window, there was a mirror behind my door. And I remember looking at the mirror, all these scratches on my face. And I said to myself in the mirror, what the hell are you doing with your life?
Wow.
And I just stared at myself. And I said it again. I said it again. And I kept repeating it, repeating it, repeating it. And then I started crying, and I kept repeating it. And I must have been standing there for at least an hour doing that. I don't know what was happening, but I just kept asking myself that question. And now that I think about it, it's like what they do with meditation.
Huh.
When you meditate
Huh.
and you say, I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. You keep saying that, you start to believe it. So I kept asking myself this question, and I guess it sort of pulled me out of this thing that I was stuck in, And I cried myself to sleep. And the next day I went to the main office and I told them I'm ready to go. When you were 17 and up, 17 and 21, you can decide when you leave.
Hmm.
So I went to the office and I asked this woman, I said, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to leave. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm ready. And so she said, okay. And she pulled out her paperwork. She started writing something down, and she asked me, she said, okay, where are you going to work? And I said, oh shit, I didn't think about that. I don't have a job. And so she wrote something down. She said, okay, who are you going to live with? I hadn't thought about that either. And I said, I don't know. She wrote something down. and she said, she asked me all these questions that I had no idea what I was gonna do. I had
Yeah.
no plan. And so eventually she just stopped and she put the pen down and she looked at me almost like like a mother, and she said, "Damiyr, like if you leave here, we're not allowed to take you back if you decide to leave." And my heart just dropped. I was so scared when she
Man, you're
said
making me scared thinking about this.
that. I was so scared when she said that. And she was like, "Do you really want to do this?" And I was like, "Yes." After what I went through that day before, I was like, "Yes, I'm ready to go. I have no plan. I don't know where I'm gonna live, where I'm gonna work, or anything, but I'm ready to leave. Put in the paperwork." She said, "Okay." She put in the paperwork. So I knew at that moment when I left that office, I had a short amount of time, whether it was a couple weeks or a couple months, I don't remember, but I had a short amount of time to figure out where I was gonna live and what I was gonna do so that I wasn't homeless, you know.